So demos, I have some demos. Bertrand, maybe, if he has a working machine. Topics, so update, status update, and roadmap. And what else? Chris is not here, and I haven't heard from him about the website. And actually, I don't remember what was the next step for the website. Does anyone remember about the next step for the website?
Yeah, there is there's a new design. They've made it back in December, so I assume it awaits some feedback.
That we didn't see?
Not on the meeting. It's in the forum.
Okay, I'm trying to see if I have the link to that. Update December 20th. Okay, we'll check.
We were going to review it in a meeting. It just was never presented.
Okay. Yeah, I don't remember exactly when the 20th was and if we had a meeting just before. But okay, I have the link to that, so we'll see. What else? Any topic that?
On the 17th of December.
Okay, so thank you, dear Benedek. Any other topic that anyone want to talk about? Nope. Okay, so status and demos. I share my screen. 1 second. Desktop. I hide your faces. This is the agenda. This is Orchard. You all recognize it. So we left here. So since last week, I refactored Orchard.messaging. And when I say refactored, I don't think there is one single line from the old module. It was such crap. I don't know who wrote it. He's the one who wrote it at the meeting. What did I do? Yes, separating things and adding new concept for extensibility like channel selector and queue processor, but I will talk about it later. Then I worked on this thing, disable theme part. So let me show you what it does and why I worked on it. No, it's Sipke who wrote it. So disable theme part. So this part, let's try something. So the goal of this part is that if you create a content type, I will try with this one, a raw page, create. It will just be a page, body, title, auto route, and disable theme. So the goal is that when you attach this part to a content item and it's displayed in detail mode, it won't use the theme, it will disable the theme. And I will explain you the reason of that. So save, if I create a new raw page, actually, blah, 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 publish now. And if I go to view that, there should not be any theme applied. Works, okay? View source, there is no theme, okay? It's still using the shapes and the templates, but there is no theme, so no menu, no zones and everything. So the idea is that if you want to expose some data externally to other websites which could reuse it in iframe, for instance, that's a way for you to do that. Because when you include your data from external iframes, you don't want the theme to be there. Does it make sense? Another well, iframe, or let's say some Ajax calls or No, okay, not iframes. If you don't want iframes. Also, another reason is that you can use it on a projection. If you create your own projection type, you can also render some raw shapes based on queries like containing XML, RSS, or JSON, because then the theme won't be applied. So that's another way to use this one, disable theme. So I think it might be handy. I had the necessity to do that based on, there was an internal hackathon in Microsoft, and another guy from another team wanted to do that, to be able to achieve that. It was very hard to override the layout for specific URLs, so I just made that very easy. It might be useful for many things. By the way, I did something else. How can I demo it? Let me think. I will just show you. So now if you go into a placement file, is there a placement file here? Nope. Here there will, nope. Workflows. Okay, placement file. Now you can do something like this. Match content part equals, for instance, disable theme part. So the idea is that if the content item which is currently displayed has a specific part, then you can define placement specifically for that. This way you can create parts which are just like flags on content items or content types, and say, oh, by adding this part to it, you are just changing the way it's layouted. Okay. Yeah, maybe. So, and I'm using it with the disable theme part, for instance. So that, well, or you can use it with the disable theme part to say, if a projection has the disable theme part, don't render the title on the page, because when you render a projection, usually it's to render a list, and you don't want the title to be rendered. So that's a way to do that. So if you have a disabled theme part, you can say place title part equals dash. Yeah. So this way you don't render the title if it has a disabled theme part. That's a common way to do that. I think it's very nice. Simple thing, but and the nicest thing is that just the people at this meeting will know about it, because there is no documentation. So it's just between us. So this way you can invoice your customers more than usual, because you really are the only ones to know how to do that. Isn't that great? Unless Benedek decides to do some documentation one day, I don't know.
Yeah. Regarding match being extensible, I believe there was a discussion or an issue regarding that, and we agreed that it would be a good idea
to extend it, to make it extensible.
Yeah. So basically to make the whole placement extensible with custom attributes.
Okay. Yeah, I don't disagree. So maybe we didn't disagree. Okay, this one is done, and this was refactoring. No, then this one refactoring orchard templates. The idea was that, well, the idea is that, well, if you knew the specifics of this module, Piotr knows because he wrote it. This module able to render a shape by its name, and also to execute a template. And these are two different topics. So what I did is I just extracted the shape rendering and put it back into the framework. So now it's a service. Anyone can create shapes using the factory, can display shapes using the now iShape display. So you have a service to render a shape directly. You don't have to mess up with the code to try to render a shape. Could we have a page so raw that it even provide the whole HTML document? I mean, when it's played,
Yeah, so basically a raw page that would act as a mini site or something like this. So the whole HTML document, because with this one there's still some wrappers with the article tag around the content item.
No, the article tag is from the display of the template, the content item which is displayed. So you can't remove it. You will remove it if you override the template of it. There is no way to.
I was just thinking about built-in way, but yeah, this was just a small idea.
So I refactored the Orchard template module, and then I will show you the demo and the new stuff, the stuff which is pushed here. Surprise! Where is Orchard? Here. So I go back to the home page. This is new feature. Yeah, many things to show. First, messaging. So I work on messaging, and as expected, if I go to users and I say I want to send an email when a user can create accounts and I want them to verify their email. Okay, but to enable that, I need an email module, like we always had to. So email enable. So SFTP settings needs to be configured, and I will say admin and localhost save. So now my SMTP is configured. If I go to user settings, I can select user must verify their email address, website, public domain, public name, Orchard, and this I don't care, save. So now if I log out and I go to sign in, I can click on register. Okay, this is a typical experience, nothing new right now. User one at foo, password and the password. And now if I register, I should receive an email. I receive an email, and the email to user1@foo.com to verify his address is this one. Okay, so standard email. Now you might have figured that it's not using Times New Roman, but using here it's Segoe, and it was using Arial by default before. You all know that. And how many of you know how to change the default style? Dan, Piotr?
I have no idea.
You have no idea? Well, there is some hard-coded HTML wrapper in the email channel. So in the email channel event handler, that's how you change the content of the emails. And good luck changing that, okay? I will not do it either. So that's to say. But until today, so now what you just need to do is go to the email module, open views, and go to template SMTP wrapper and change what you want here. This is a standard wrapper which will be applied to any email using this SMTP channel. So if email is sent using SMTP channel, this will be this master template which we used. So to change that, it's very easy. And you can even add your own signature if you want, and it will be very usable. Because it's a shape, I haven't tried it, but it should work. You should even be able to override this file in your theme. So by just changing a view, you can change the template for the emails, for all the emails in one location. What else? And how is it possible? It's because after the refactoring of the template module and extracting the iShape display service, which is a new service I talked about, you can just say display a shape name or a shape object, and it will render it. And so what I'm just doing is trying to render that and wrapping it using this this property of the previous email. So that's very useful. Now something else. Let's say any comment here. So for non-HTML emails, it's a different matter. We'll see. It depends on each channel. So let's say now that the email is this. Okay, but you don't want this text to be sent for when a user registers. Okay, how would you do that today? Well, nobody does that because it's too complex, because you have to implement specific classes just to override it. Until today, because now if you want to change the text for the registration message, you go to the user module, which defines this message, and there is a template user moderated. Oh no, that's one. Maybe I forgot about this template. But let's say you have moderated your user and you receive an email. Let's do that. So I go back to the website and I sign in as admin, dashboard, and I go to users here, and I say I want to approve, save, and send a notification. Moderators, I say admin, save, and in user I will define an email for admin so he can receive emails. Okay. So now if a user tries to register, user 2, I receive an email. Well, he receives an email, and I should also receive an email. What? I didn't receive the email. Why? Well, you understood. This file is where the message is coming from for this. When a user has been validated, also. Oh no, this is the one actually. This is the one I was looking for. It's called validated. This one, to verify that you own this email, and if I go there, to verify that you own this email address. So if I change this text, it will change the email. Example, signature, I save, another email, another user tries to log in or to register, user3@foo.com. Boom, new email, and here I have signature. You see, it works live, it's beautiful, so easy. Another advantage of that, and with the org-chart templates module, you remember that the org-chart templates module lets you create new templates on the fly, which will be also viewed as shapes. You could, from the admin, just create a template named template user validated, and this will be the template which will be used to send the email. So you can also change the email texts from the, at least for these ones, from the admin too. Okay, nothing interesting. We'll see later. If I miss something in the comments, just interrupt me or any question. So this is for the templates. I also showed you iShape display. Let me show you how it works. The iShape display, if I go into the users module, the service which sends the email, you will see how easy it is compared to before. Membership service, and at some point it sends an email. So the idea is just saying shape factory create, so standard shape factory create a shape, name this thing, and pass it some parameters. This will be the model properties. Okay, the model properties here are just the create user parameters from the event, which contain lots of things. And then to send an email, it's the new message service. Send, what do you want to send here? Email, and parameters is just a dictionary of string object. Subject, body, recipient, and the body is the evaluation of the template, okay, which is there. And it turns out that this service itself, because it will use the SMTP channel, will also wrap the whole email which has been templated with the master email template containing the layout of the email and the style of the email. So multiple templates here and layouts are in conjunction are used. So this is how you use that. Now, new feature, another one. Another one. So I just sent an email, but you might have seen that it was sent. It was a synchronous call, meaning that when I hit create a user, the email arrived. And there should be a module called orchard.messaging because it was the goal of the templates to be used for orchard.messaging, and the message queue that Sipke did and that I showed you last week. On top of refactoring it, we completely redid it. It's no more a message queue because message queue is really weak. Why do a message queue when we can have an anything queue? Okay. So instead of having a queue which can send messages, now we have a queue which can do anything. So let me show you. I will create a workflow which will send an email. So send email. And this workflow will take when a page is created. It's also updated, which means I go over the editor. So it's created and it's edited. Then I want to send an email. Okay. So this is a new email activity from the new email module. Well, the updated email module using the new messaging module, which is no more actually. So it's weird. So email address. So you remember the old format? There were some radio boxes, and you could select owner, author, and the site admin. Now the owner, you say content.author.email. And the site admin is a new token which is superuser.mail. Let's do with that, see if it works. It should work. Subject, I will use the display text of the page I create as the subject, and I will use the body of the page I create as the body of the email. And I save my workflow. So if I create a new page, I should instantly receive a message, blah blah blah, publish, and I receive a mail with a nice formatting, and page 1 is the display text and the content is the body. Okay, perfect. Okay, so now let's say that I want to not to send it directly, but I want it to be processed asynchronously as a queue. The goal being that, let's say you have so many users that you want to send so many emails that you don't want the request to be blocked by the current request, by the current sending of the email. So what you will do, you will enable a module called jobs queue. So it's no more message queue, it's a jobs queue. So now the message queue could process messages asynchronously. Now we can process jobs asynchronously, anything. And a message is just one thing among anything. So now let's go back to the workflow and see what happens to this email. It's also a nice trick. I edit the email, and now because the jobs queue is enabled, this activity found it and say, oh, but I also can send this email queued instead of sending it directly. So asynchronously instead of synchronously. And I save, and I will create a save it here, and I will create a new page. And I go page 2.
Is this queuing enabled for all activities now, or
nope,
does the...
No, okay. It's too complex. Jot will do it for next version, okay? But we can talk about it later. So I publish, and I just wait. Oh, there, sorry. I will try again now, because now the minute will start from now. I just wait, and you see it's not instantaneous, you have to wait. It should be 50 seconds. So let's wait. Yes, wait for it. Maybe it will never come. Yeah, it came. The previous one came, so this one will come. So the idea is just to, well, this nice UI trick that the activity can provide a way to queue it or not is just, I will show you how it's done. It's very simple actually. Email activity. It's just, so it's in the form actually, email form. So here is just, oh, I received the email. You see, now it's there. So the idea is just that I just look at the orchard of jobs queue module, the feature. If it's there, if it's enabled, it will just add the checkbox and the select list on top of the form, and the activity itself will get, if it's checked, then it will use the job queue service instead of the message service. And the job queue service enqueues an event handler, so you can trigger anything from the job queue service which is an event handler. So it's like the processing task service which could execute a message, an event at the end of the request synchronously as part of the request. That's a non-reliable queue in scientific terms, and this one is a reliable queue and will process it in a background task. And you can enqueue anything, sending emails, sending tweets, processing the index, whatever you want. If it's a lot of things to do, it can do that, but asynchronously. And also, there's another module, another feature, because, so I don't want to mess up people with the UI, so there is another feature to see the current queue. It's the jobs queue UI. It's the old message queue UI without lots of columns. So it's here, jobs queue, a nice icon here. You see the queue is empty, so if I create a new page, save, and I go to jobs queue, the queue is queued, and you see it's iMessage service.send, and that's it. And you can see some details with the payload like it used to be. Okay, so that's the ID. New module. Comments?
Could we make the ability to add this queuing feature to workflow activities a bit more streamlined? So if I would like to display that the default form, a little form piece, then just do it with a few lines of code instead of that 15 lines.
So sorry, what? Where are the 50 lines?
Yeah, so when you showed the message or the email activity, so at the end of the email activity, you have taken the form and extended it with the job queue form fields, right?
Not right.
Okay.
Well, it's not the jobs queue fields. It's just a checkbox which says that the activity needs to queue the message instead of sending it directly.
Yeah, basically, could we just have some little helper or something for this part, for this?
Yeah, but here is just a checkbox. What could it be simpler than a checkbox? And then this one, oh, priority maybe. Okay, priority and checkbox. Well, yeah, maybe sometimes there is more. Here is priority of the message, and you have to change it. There is not so much to reuse. It's very specific, and the fact that the form adapts based on the jobs queue feature enabled is very specific to this feature. Maybe you will I could have done two email activities, a send email right now and a save email later. It could have been two different activities. And I think that will be the case for other features. You will maybe say, oh, queue something. It will be an activity. So, and using the jobs queue itself is just using the jobs queue service, because to use the job queue, you need a dependency on the feature and on the service. So you really, your feature really needs to have a dependency on that. It's not by something magic. It's you expect to use a queue and because it's there. So. But
could we have activities automatically going to the queue? I mean, like a delayed activity. But
yeah. So we thought about that with Sipke when he talked about the feature, and I think it will be very hard, because how do you serialize the action that has to be executed later? So, for instance, you are in a workflow and you say, oh, the rest of the workflow, do it later. Well, actually, that's part of the workflow with the timer. Or you could say, oh, do this and this and this and this later. And this and this and this and this being activities. How do you serialize those activities with their state to be executable later? That must be very hard. I would rather change the workflow to wait for a certain time, or create specific queued activities that you put in your workflow. That is better than just make something automatic.
Yeah, but actually, I don't think you have to serialize, because it would be the same as with the timer activity. Mm-hmm. So if the up is torn down, then I assume the timer activity won't run.
Okay, so what you suggest? So I have an idea. What you can do actually is, in your workflow, you just have a signal, okay? And the workflow is still running, but it's waiting for a signal. The next step is to wait for a signal, okay? And at the same time, you can queue a signal trigger, which is also an activity. So you could say enqueue a triggered signal, so that all your workflow are all stopped on a signal, and it's as the queue processes the triggers that the signal are triggered and the workflow continues on the background. So this is how you will do that. Clear? So you make a pause and you enqueue the resume of the workflow.
Interesting.
I will not do that, but you can do it. Remember, Orchard is for simple websites, okay? 1 or 2 pages, 3 fields, and that's it. So don't go too crazy. So how is the job implemented, Piotr? Job, there is no job. You just enqueue a message name and parameters, and the message name is an I-event handler. It's the same thing as the processing task feature. So what it saves in the database is the message name and JSON serialization of the parameters that you give here. And the parameters here are the parameters of the method call. So the iMessageService.send takes parameter named type and a parameter named parameters, which is a dictionary of string object. So we serialize the method call actually. This is I-event handler. You know that, you wrote it, part of it. It just needs to be serializable. What needs to be serializable is just the parameter. Yes, the parameter of your method call needs to be serializable. And you can always create your custom method to be called. It's just an event. For instance, the iMessageService.send here, if I go there, iMessageService is a I-event handler send, and this thing has been removed. So you see, it's really, instead of calling the service now, it's queuing the call to the service. Another implementation could be to have a command pattern that we save. So we create a specific custom class inheriting from job, for instance, which has parameters and an execute function, like the activity, and we save this class. So when it's deserialized, we just say execute, and it's not using the event bus, but it could, I don't know, have some context with the work context and resolve the services it needs, or call something else. That's another implementation, a possible implementation. Not sure. Maybe this can, it is using the event bus. So yeah, it's close to the event bus. It's using the event bus. A dependency on the job queue service is the event bus, iJob service. Where is that? Oh, job queue service, go to implementation. It's using, where is that? Oh, it's the queue processor, sorry. Processor gets the event bus, and when it gets a queued job record, it's actually an event bus call which is doing. See? Event bus notify. Okay, we'll keep the implementation detail for later. Then, if you have some suggestion, don't hesitate.
What's the task list used here for?
Because the process manager is a singleton, and you don't want multiple nodes of your farm to execute the job queue. Or you could want that, but we will need the list to be done at the job level. Okay, and this is harder.
Yeah, because actually I implemented a job queue that does that. So it requires a form-wide list. Yeah, so I was just wondering. Okay.
It's possible. We could change that to allow any number of queue processor, but right now it's using a task list and only one server processes the jobs. You can always, I'm sure, override this job queue processor to do it differently.
Did you think about using dynamics to or lambdas to do the queuing? I'm just when I look at the API, you give a string as the event name, and then you give a dictionary of parameters, pretty much. Is there a way we could make that syntax better?
Yeah, the question is how to serialize a lambda or a func, just the call to it, the call to something, to some behavior. And I don't know. So that's why I thought about the command pattern.
I'm thinking about making the call look more like the call to the actual function.
I agree, like you did for the InfoSet part. So that could be done, but the call needs to be very simple, like
Yeah, but exactly, it should feel like you're calling the actual method.
So here, here
it should be clear that you're actually not calling it now, but it should look like the function, the regular function call.
What we could have something like this, enqueue on an interface like a type, and it will be like, for instance, iMessage service, because we have a reference to that, and enqueue that like do, and X will be X will be an iMessage service func, and we will say x.send send and b something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
And this could be serialized exactly as, I know I take A, I take B, these are the parameters, and I have the interface and I have the message name. Yep, maybe that could be an extension method for that, like we have for the InfoSet. Maybe you can write it because you wrote the InfoSet extension method.
Yeah, I think about it.
That's interesting. That will be exactly easier. But again, that will use the message bus. Some other implementation could use some other ways to serialize the method call.
Yeah, it's not syntactic sugar.
Yeah, yeah. So and there is no there is nothing hidden behind why I implemented a job queue instead of the message queue, because at some point I was wondering how Drupal did the message queue. They had a message queue until Drupal 7, when they decided to use a generic queue management they have in Drupal. They can create multiple queues, and one of the service using that is a jobs queue. So now they really have jobs queues, and I thought it was very interesting than just having message queues. And when I say message queues, it's really email queues. So now you can process email asynchronously or anything. That's much better. Bertrand, dis-moi.
You have more than that, don't you?
No?
No? That's it?
Why? Yes. Thank you.
No, it was pretty cool.
So Bertrand, dis-moi.
Yeah, I told you it's still building.
Oh.
Build precompiled takes forever. I'm trying to deploy that thing to a different machine so that it actually runs.
Websites of the week for here mutual funds exchange. Nice, simple. Is it Bootstrap? No, it's my theme. It's not your theme, it's my theme.
Oh, hey guys, Sébastien. I have a really small demo, but it's about a new workflow token. I'll show it.
Oh yes, okay, you pushed it. Yeah, I didn't talk about that. Go.
So to give some context, we know about the workflow, and we can develop custom activities. We can set state into the workflow, and I created a token provider so that you can use workflow state as part of a tokenized field. So, for example, can you guys see my screen currently?
Not yet.
No. But it's loading, okay. Still loading?
No, it's not even loading yet.
Yeah, start again, share again. In which country are you today?
Today I'm in Holland.
Is it a country?
They say it's a country. Officially it's the Netherlands. Some call it Holland. Yeah, it's a small country, but I like it. But I'm gonna move end of this month to a place where there's much better internet connection.
To the UK?
No, it will still be the Netherlands. It will be near the forests. I currently live in the center of the city. It will be more green there.
So Holland is actually a region of the west coast of Netherlands.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's a good description. Yeah.
That's what I find on internet.
I can see your screen now.
Yeah. Okay. So I created a small custom activity, and all it's doing in its execute method is setting some state called custom value and day value. And this right now it's just a primitive, but it could also be anything as long as it's serializable, because it will be serialized using JSON as JSON. And I created a workflow. Whenever content is published, it executes the custom activity, setting that state, and then we have a notify activity which uses a new token called state of the workflow token provider, and this is the expression to access your custom value. In this case, we named it custom value. If it would be a property, you could say, or if it was an object with multiple properties, you could use dot notation to access its properties, like this. But right now it's just an integer, so we'll use it like this, and just to show it works when we publish content, we'll see our value here. That's it. Just a small addition to the workflow provider token providers. And for my specific scenario, I have a use case where I'm using Nix authentication module, and I want to present the user with a message which provider was used to connect, to associate the account with, for example, Facebook or Twitter. And I use a custom activity to associate the Facebook or Twitter account with the Orchard account. So I think it's useful. That's it.
Thank you. I was sure there was this feature already.
Wow, I looked for it. I couldn't find it.
That's so obvious. That's weird. That's
I thought
weird.
so, yeah.
Yeah, because when I did the workflow module, I'm sure I thought about it. It's strange. Okay, I found it.
You found it?
Is it your code or is it mine? What's the name of your class?
It's called State Tokens.
Okay, that's it. That's yours. Okay, that's weird. Okay. And Piotr, didn't you do that? Didn't you have to do that for the workflow extensions for your loops, for instance?
Yeah. I need to check, but I'm probably I've probably done it. So I will have to merge because I guess I did it a different way.
Okay. I'm sure you did it in a weird way with at least 5 or 6 classes.
No. I would just I just added chaining. So if it's a string or a date,
okay.
so you can chain the tokens.
Okay, we'll see. So going back on the websites. Someone else. This one looks nice. So it's the new typical website or the single page website, and you scroll down and there is a new background. It's nice, and a slideshow in the middle. Wow.
I can't see your screen. I don't know if others can.
Oh,
It's loading.
But it's nice.
It's loaded for me.
Yep. Can you see Bertrand?
I can see it, by the way. Loading
That's
for me
nice.
immediately.
Yeah. It's cool. Oh, it's Piotr. No. Someone else.net. Interesting. Omni.org. What is it about? Dedicated to your success. That data optimization. Yep, sure. They sell something, but I don't know what. TNA and training. Okay. And but very nice. And the last one. CPS. Oh, Dominicana. So where is that? It's in Spanish. Looks nice. So someone answering. Nice one too. Beautiful websites. I'll give it to anyone who wants the list of the website. What else? Oh, the community websites. Frame. Updated wireframe. Chris is not here. I assume. Nope. So what has been updated? Recent activity updates as well as landing pages for download and community. Update, okay. Updating the main navigation. Added items for documentation and support. Okay, because we requested that documentation and support. The result is that we have 8 items in the main navigation. We may need to return to this, to the address, how much space we'll have for the main nav. So if I look at the main navigation, well, yes, documentation and download. Okay, I think it's more straightforward for users. I like it. Home page wireframe, community and partner sections to function as horizontal sliders. Community and partners sections, where are they? Showcase, features, community, slider. Okay. Yeah, that's nice. I like it. We can remove the courses, and that's fine. And partners to, yes, that solves the issue that when we have more than that, or we have an, yeah. And view all goes to a list. I like it. You can see the projection here and the widget projection too. Can you? Download wireframe. Updated the layout to reflect the 2 methods of getting our chart that the group discussed. I like it. Where is the download page? So community page and then download page. Okay. Recommended for developers and lists, and recommend easy setup, Microsoft Web Matrix, other ways to download Azure. I like it. What do you think?
Yep. I like the Azure part. I think that's clever to put that in there.
Yeah, as I said, it's the simplest way to start up. Actually, you have hosting. You don't need any tool.
And the zip. Hold on. So the zip file. So that will point at the orchard.coplex zip file, right?
I assume.
So that means when we do an update of our packages, we'll have to update the website in order to repoint the zip file. Yeah.
Well, no. Whenever we release a new version, we update the zip file. So that's it. That's what we do today.
Well, the URL is different for every zip file.
Yeah, but we change it.
Yeah. So we'll have to change it on the website.
We do it today already.
Oh, do we? Okay, fine.
Yeah.
So I know this is a bit cliche, but counters are always very popular when you want to show how your adoption rate is going.
So we have the counter on the Codeplex website. I don't know how, and we are clever because all the sources point to the same counter. So the real data is here, downloads. Okay, and that's just for the latest version. I don't know how we can get these values otherwise. I mean, we could scrape the website and extract this value from here. We could also get the total downloads from here. I'm not sure if we can do that actually. Or yes, we can here. There is no API for that. Technically, it's doable. Oh, no, yes. So what is the answer? You put some links, but what is the answer? Can we do that programmatically?
I don't see it in the .NET API.
The API is very limited.
Yeah, I don't see it, Piotr. Yeah, very limited, being a
I don't even know what you can do with that.
It gives you the release date, but it doesn't give you...
Projects here. Username projects. Well, this is the list of projects by username, and no, I don't see anything interesting here. So what I see is just scraping the content of the HTML to get that. So technically it's doable, but I'm not sure how hard it is to do that. But yep, maybe. Why not? Where is this?
Potentially be on both the home page and the downloads page.
yeah, I'm not. I will more care about the kind of websites that are already on our chart than just a number of websites.
Can you ask the Coplex team to expose that?
Oh no. I don't. I won't even spend the time to ask for it. It's not. They won't do it. It's not possible. They could, I mean, technically they could do that, but they won't do it because we ask it. Never. No.
But if you ask nicely.
No, even if I pay them.
Maybe it's personal.
No, even if I do it anonymously. No, they don't have time to do that. I've already asked, remember, because some users wanted to change their usernames, and no, they don't have time to do that. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure about learner code. Yep. So what else in the document? So our secretary will take a note of this suggestion. Where is no. Click here and I go back to the PDF which was at the top. Download wireframe, which is nicer. Homepage wireframe section. Yeah, we saw that. Questions. We updated the sitemap with the new additions to the main navigation. The Web Advanced team would like to get thoughts on the contents of the support section. For example, does support contain pages that are exclusive to it, or is it simply a collection of pages from documentation and community? Perhaps the current set of pages under community are what really comprises the support section, and community becomes a section just for items like contributing, the weekly meeting, and the forum. The forum, I'm sure they meant the forum, open to suggestions. So, what about support, and what about community, and what about document? So documentation itself should be documentation. Or is it support pointing to documentation? So that's a question. Does support contain pages that are exclusive to it, or is it simply a collection of pages from documentation and community? What is currently under community? Maybe yeah. We could trick it by making two menu items pointing to the same page. So people looking for support will find it here, and people looking for community, it's more enterprise, oh, I'm looking for support, paid support, and oh, what can I use there? Oh, I'm very cheap, I want to use free support, community, and it's the same thing actually. Where is the page with community or support? If there is a wireframe, community is there. Community, documentation. Yeah, so what will be below support? So maybe I should watch the last meeting again just to see what was suggested under support. And if we can't find anything under support, maybe merge the two with something community/support. That we can still do that. Community and support. Okay, so that's an open question. But overall, it looks nice. I like it. Anyone else has something to add? Comment, something to change from it? They took care of all the feedback we gave last time. What did they say for the next step also for wireframing into HTML or PSDs, or yeah, this is a PSD, but
So are they going to be the ones building it as well?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I think they said that the theme could be done by someone else, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, so Vietnambic goes up for that. So, for building the theme.
Mhm. That is building the theme and the website. Sometimes it's very linked together because the theme contains only stuff from some custom modules, custom code. Interesting.
So do we have the localization stuff on here as well? Yeah. How are we going to move the content over from one site to the other?
Well, copy paste and create new pages. Documentation is a separate website. Localization is a separate website, I think. Please confirm. I think so. It's MVC website, localization. No?
No.
It's a module? It's what?
Yes, it's a module.
Okay.
Documentation is a module.
No, documentation is a separate site. It's just a simple ASP.NET site formatting Markdown. That's all it.
Yeah.
And search index.
But localization is a module because it's also using a...
And its data is in the same database as the site, so you have to move that.
Okay. Orchard forums will obviously link to Coplex.
Yes. Sorry, Nick, but yes.
No, it's fine. Community blog.
The community blog is just an aggregate of the external blogs.
Yep. So what we've currently got at the moment with.
Yes.
Okay.
And the first 3 items are something on the main page, and the rest on the specific page.
Okay. And chat. Did we want to embed the Jabber client?
No. We just want to provide a link to that.
Okay.
And explain a little count tile explaining what it is and.
Okay.
And maybe they already did that. How did they do that? Chat here. Yeah. We can add more tiles here explaining this because here there are links. It's a quick set of links, and we can add more tiles if we want to explain what the chat is and.
Yep. Okay. Cool.
Community blog. Yeah, the last items, and there might be also everything on another page. Okay, sounds nice. Okay, I'll try to talk with, catch up with Chris to see what the next step can be if Lombic has to take over for the theme. Okay, nice. So, any comments, feedback? 2 last topics, triage and harvest. It's about time, so we'll postpone triage for next week. Harvest, it was my task to advance the subject, and I could not find time to do anything more than what I did. So sorry guys, no news for harvest. It's on me. I will try to do it this week, and I'm still late for my work. So any other subject? That was a subject from Milan. Okay.
Why aren't we doing triage this week?
107. You want to do some?
Yeah, just.
Oh, there. Okay, you just want your bugs to be open.
What?
Issues.
Yeah, this time could we start with the oldest ones?
Proposed for unassigned. They changed the. No, it's Chrome which changed the design. Okay. Okay. Wahami currently is the only way to convert so better support for converting content part record tables to content part version record tables. It's very rare that you want to do that. It happens. The issue is that doing that in the core will have us support that, and the day you have 1 million rows, and it's not how you should do that as a migration, I mean. It will be done asynchronously in a batch, I mean batch by batch, then it won't work and people will complain and the feature doesn't work and we have to fix it.
Would it not be better to do something like an import-export, just to ask them to do that? Would it not be safer?
Will it work? It will work actually, yeah. But it means you export and then you remove the feature, you delete the tables, and you.
So here is where it's. What happens if you take a content type and you add draft table after you've created contents on that?
No, but the record has version record, which means all the.
You're breaking out.
I think you're breaking your relationships, because then the content part version record has nothing and it should have something. So you are losing your content. So it's really about.
So that's a bug.
I'm not even sure. No, even if it's not, even if you are a content part record, it's still saving into the content part. I don't remember.
I think when you check that checkbox, that draftable checkbox, and you save the content type, you shouldn't lose any existing content, right? If that's the case, if you're losing contents, then that's a bug, and it's an important bug. And vice versa, if you uncheck that checkbox, what happens?
I have some paper. I touched the code, so it's recompiling. Okay. Close this one. Oh, very nice. Okay. Accessible or unaccessible? Yes, okay. So propose some comments and we'll open it later when we have more answers. The uncreating event for a part should be, someone can try the draft thing. The uncreating event for a part should be triggered after all parts in the content item are filled with data and error-free. No, I don't agree, because the creating event is not what you are describing. So why would we change this? So the creating event is there when an object is created. I know it's disturbing because in a workflow you need to pipeline 2 events to do what you mean. So what you mean is creating, created, and updated. Updated. Then the updated event is triggered. I am not using, so and even the updated event is called when you edit the content. So you really want the 2 of them to be triggered in the same, or in this order: created and updated. And thought I had done something for that, like a new event. Yeah, it looks like I have done something like this. I will check, but that was just flagging the fact that we entered uncreated and then we went on updated and triggering a new event. That's weird. But it's not about changing uncreating. Definitely not. So I will see with the comment I placed. Small images get stretched out of aspect ratio in media library. Yep. Chart localization is post-fixing the permalink URL with a culture but without a separator. Yeah, that's a bug. Missing pages. You can create new pages and they publish OK and you can view them, but they are not listed in content in admin. What is the issue? We can create new pages and they publish OK and you can view them, but they are not listed in content in admin. No.
I haven't seen this.
I haven't seen this either, so I will say resolve, also closed, no repro, and repro. Probably.
No.
It will be weird.
Enterprise libraries.
Because it works. People are hosting on Azure with SQL Azure. I did it too, so it's weird. Is it that it doesn't work? Okay, I'll check that, but it's weird and it works. What do you mean? You can't just add arbitrary markup to a menu if you build it from a navigation provider currently.
Yeah, because you can build links through the navigation builder or menu builder, or how is it called? But you can't just add arbitrary HTML to the menu.
And what is the current feature doing, the shape stuff?
It isn't using. I mean, you can't add shapes either.
Shape.
You know, it's about the iNavigation provider. So what you use, for example, for building the admin menu.
Why would you add a shape here? Because you just want links. You want more than links?
Yeah, apparently I wanted more than links in September, but I can't remember what the use case was.
Okay, I put future version, maybe.
But I've written it, so I would trust me.
Script use condition applies to preceding class script without use condition. Require jQuery. First, select divisor at head. Use condition this. And the resource manifest is that set dependency jQuery.
Yeah, I've seen this issue. So it applies the condition to all the whole dependency tree. So it's not only to this one script, but all others. So if you have something that depends on jQuery and you require that, so the condition will be applied to the jQuery as well. So it was so it's yes, but it should be applied only to this one script.
Long time ago. So what do you want here? Because we already did something.
Yeah, so there's this extension method called isfatal that can be used like demonstrated here when you catch the basic exception. And there are many places in Orchard where the basic exception is catched, is caught for some reason. But if there's some fuzzed exception like a stack overflow exception or an out-of-memory exception, it will be caught as well.
Okay, and you don't want them to be called.
Oh, you just want to turn it public, right?
Really. Sorry?
Well, that extension method's already, well, its fatal's already there, so maybe we just need to turn it to an extension method. Is that what you're trying to say?
No,
it's
there, it's public, it's an extension method, we just have to use it throughout Orchard.
Oh, I see, okay.
Oh, okay, okay. You just mean don't try to catch it because you should not throw. Okay. Benedict list formatting network. My users trying to comprehend screen of my site body field. Closed. Oh, I received an email. Closed. Country Pro. Query with contains any word. The filter precision is equal with two or more words. Okay. Must be true. Okay, must be true. Okay, I will check that. I've never tried it actually. Using a domain and a suffix. Yeah, by design. Expose a way to filter content pickers list without a field. If you want to use content picker from code, have a custom button somewhere to select some content items. What you can achieve is limited due to the fact that the item listing needs a field in the background. I'm lost.
So the content picker consists of a field, but there's also the content picker pop-up that you can invoke with a piece of JavaScript.
Okay.
Yeah, but there's no way to use the filtering feature of the content picker pop-up by just invoking it from code, so without the field, but just for some arbitrary feature. So if you just invoke it from code, then there's no way to filter the result that's displayed in the pop-up, because what it filters on should come from a field. So you can't just pass that show only pages or whatever
Okay.
to the script.
Oh, it's not parameterizable.
Yeah.
Okay. And the only parameter is a field name or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And part name.
Isn't it dangerous? Security issues, maybe? If you say what you want to see and you are not supposed to be able to type that.
What do you mean?
Okay, I will post a command to active, but last one. Comment workflow, tough to work with. Comment workflow, tough to work with. The comments are tough to wrap a workflow around. When a comment is added, it's created twice. Okay, published twice. Update only occurs once, but that seems backward to use content updated event. Assuming using content updated works. Okay. Cool. So what did I miss?
I just wanted to make a remark about the issue about the resources and the resource conditions. So the issue actually said that when a resource is a condition, then the condition is applied to the tree, but I think that's actually by design and it's okay. The question is that when I have, for example, two scripts, and for example, both of them requires jQuery, and one of the scripts has a condition, and the condition doesn't apply, the question is that jQuery will be loaded or not. And of course it should be. But the issue was different from this.
I trust you. Can you update the issue then?
Yeah, okay. I comment on it to, you know.
Okay.
Okay.
My girlfriend works for Accenture. Okay. That was interesting.
The whole,
You read it if you-
the whole chat window is super interesting.
Yeah.
You
It was
should-
in context.
I stopped trying Unity. Okay. And then your girlfriend then. Okay. And the mob site, what is this one? Okay. Complex statistics. Oh, they are already doing the scraping thing. Okay, good. Those crazy people. Okay, that's all for today. We already lost half of the audience. Thank you all for joining. Talk to you next week. And Bertrand, pre-compile your stuff before the meeting.
Yeah, it's your fault.
Sorry.
Bye everyone.
Have a good week.
See you next week, guys.
Bye bye.
Bye, guys. Bye.